Have you ever noticed how strange it feels when everything in your life is technically fine, but inside, something feels flat? Not sadness, not despair, just a quiet absence. You wake up, move through your day, scroll, work, speak, eat, and none of it really lands. You don't feel broken, you don't feel dramatic, you just feel untouched. And the unsettling question is this: what if nothing is wrong with your life, but something fundamental has shifted in how you experience it? The problem is not that life is meaningless, but that we expect it to mean something in a very specific way. We live in a time of extraordinary access to information, access to entertainment, access to stimulation, affirmation, distraction. And yet, for many adults between their mid-20s and mid-50s, joy has become elusive. Not dramatic joy, not fireworks, but the quiet, sustaining sense that being alive is enough. Most people describe it the same way: I should be happier than this. We did what we were told. We optimized. We learned the rules. We built routines, identities, personas. And slowly, without realizing it, life became something we manage instead of something we inhabit. When life becomes a task, the soul quietly steps aside. The modern mind is always ahead of the moment, planning, measuring, evaluating. Even joy is evaluated now. Am I enjoying this enough? Is this meaningful? Should I feel more grateful? And the moment you ask those questions, joy disappears, not because it's fragile, but because it cannot survive observation. Joy is not a performance, it is a byproduct. Happiness is not something you pursue, it's something that happens when you stop interfering. One of the most subtle misunderstandings of modern life is the belief that joy is something added to experience, as if life is neutral by default, and joy must be injected through achievement, romance, success, or purpose. But joy was never meant to be added, it was meant to be noticed. You don't create the ocean by waving your hands, you realize you are already in it. What steals joy is not suffering, it is over-interpretation. We don't just experience moments, we translate them. We ask what they mean, what they say about us, whether they move us closer to an imagined future. And slowly, life becomes a symbol rather than a sensation. You don't drink coffee anymore. You consume caffeine while thinking about the day. You don't walk. You transition between locations. You don't rest. You recover for productivity. The moment is not lacking anything, only the mind insists it should. This constant mental narration creates a strange disconnection. You are present physically, but absent experientially, and joy cannot exist without presence. Not mindfulness as a technique, presence as a natural state before constant commentary took over. To be alive is not a concept, it is a feeling. Another hidden factor is identity. Modern adults carry heavy identities: professional identity, moral identity, psychological identity. You are someone with a story, and stories are useful, but they are terrible places to live, because stories need continuity, progress, and payoff. Life does not. The universe is not going anywhere, only the ego insists on direction. When you live inside a story, every moment becomes a means to an end, and joy by nature has no purpose. It cannot justify itself, which is why the mind dismisses it as unproductive. What is the point of dancing? The point is the dance. Many people lose joy not because they are depressed, but because they are over-adapted. They have become extremely good at functioning. They survive efficiently. They cope elegantly. And efficiency is the enemy of wonder. A perfectly managed life leaves no room for surprise. There is also the quiet grief of repetition, the realization that novelty fades, that the first-time feeling doesn't last. And instead of mourning that honestly, we resist it. We chase intensity, more stimulation, more extremes. But intensity is not depth. Depth is not loud. It is patient. Joy matures. In youth, joy is explosive. In adulthood, joy becomes subtle. And subtlety requires attention. What you seek is not louder happiness, but finer sensitivity. The tragedy is that modern culture trains us to numb subtlety. Endless content, endless noise, and when silence appears, we call it emptiness.
Silence is not empty. It is full of what you've been avoiding. When nothing brings you joy anymore, it may not be because joy has left. It may be because your nervous system no longer knows how to recognize quiet satisfaction. Stillness feels uncomfortable. Simplicity feels dull. But that dullness is often the doorway. The doorway you are avoiding is the one you need. Another misunderstanding is the belief that joy must be earned, that you deserve joy only after improvement, after healing, after success, after becoming someone else. But joy is not a reward. Existence does not require permission. The idea that you must fix yourself before you can feel alive is one of the deepest modern illusions. You don't fix the sky to enjoy the weather. You are not a project. You are a process. Joy disappears when you turn yourself into an object to be improved. You start watching yourself live instead of living, and the watcher never feels joy. Only the one being watched does. So what happens when you stop asking why joy is missing? What if the question itself is the disturbance? Water settles when you stop stirring. There is a quiet realization that often arrives later in life, that the hunger for joy was actually a hunger for permission. Permission to feel without explanation. Permission to exist without justification. Permission to be ordinary without apology. You don't need a reason to be here. Being here is the reason. When joy returns, it rarely announces itself. It shows up as neutrality that feels safe, as moments that don't demand anything, as the absence of inner commentary. You don't feel ecstatic, you feel grounded. Peace is not excitement, it is the end of internal argument. The modern mind mistakes calm for boredom, but boredom is agitation seeking stimulation. Calm is presence without demand. When nothing is missing, nothing feels urgent. You may notice that joy returns when you stop trying to extract meaning from every experience, when you allow moments to be incomplete, when you let life be slightly unresolved. Closure is a psychological preference, not a requirement of reality. This realization doesn't solve life, it softens it. You still feel disappointment, you still feel fatigue, but they move through instead of defining you. Feelings are weather, not identity. Joy becomes less dramatic but more available, not because life improved, but because resistance decreased. Suffering is pain with resistance. Pain without resistance is sensation, and sensation is alive. Perhaps nothing brings you joy anymore because joy was never meant to be chased. Perhaps it was always waiting in the background, quiet, patient, untouched by effort. Not as a peak experience, but as a gentle hum beneath existence. The music was never missing. You were listening for the wrong instrument. And maybe the most radical thing you can allow is not joy, but the permission to stop demanding that life entertain you, to let it simply be, and to notice, without forcing meaning, what remains when the search relaxes. When you stop trying to arrive, you discover you never left.